Need more energy for productivity and creativity? Learn to leverage the powerful female sexual energy to get more done and create your best work. Hey everyone, it's Julieta. Welcome back to my channel. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell beside it to be notified when I post a new video like this every single day for you. And at the end of this video, if you still need some more help and guidance to do this right, to go really hardcore and create your best productive self and really leverage your high level creativity, as I'm going to share in the content of this video, then make sure to go down to the scheduler down below in the description box and book a chat with me to have a one-on-one consult to see if you're fit to join my program, which is now open for enrollment. I see a lot of videos out there that talks about semen retention and transmuting male sexual energy, which I remember the main source of this topic being from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read the book many times, and in that book, I believe it's chapter 10 that talks about sexual transmutation, but that book is fairly outdated, as in it's a classic, but it was written in the 30s, so it's really directed towards men. But what I find is that this information is quite often missing for women, and when I have found some sources, there are various sources that suggest that actually for females, having sex increases productivity and creativity, and I could not disagree more. And I actually believe, in my personal opinion, some man made that up so he can get laid. What I can tell you right now is that female sexual energy works very similarly to male sexual transmutation, and apply some of these tips because this is the greatest productivity and creativity hack that I have ever come across, which I apply and use every single day. We all know where the sexual energy generates from. We all know where the urge starts. We all feel it. We don't have to talk about where the chakras are. I don't talk about chakras, so if you want that, you can go to a different video. What I'm saying is that we know where it starts. It starts in the Kegel area. We want to think about that area as the base of our creative energy. And when you feel that urge, you need to hold to that urge, and you need to learn to channel the urge so it actually gives you a boost of power to get more work done. So what you don't want to do here is to release the urge by doing some kind of activity, whether that is actual sexual activity, or that is going out on dates and flirting with your sexual interest, or whether that is self-pleasuring. It doesn't matter what activity it is. You want to use that power to create your best work, because that urge and the push is actually super creative power. That power that you can create babies with, which is the gift of the female form, you can use that to create your best work. And literally, you can do this every single day. And the more you accumulate, the more you recycle it in your body, the more powerful it gets. Now, when you collect that urge and you collect that power, when you collect that strong sexual energy, you want to use that to deliver your best work. So there are two types of work that you want to focus on. Number one is creative work like, for example, writing a book, or creating a new project, or designing something. Whatever your creative is, that is where you need to channel this energy. It works the best. Second is to do work that you normally don't like to do. Things like, in my case, things like regeneration, things like, what else is there? Bookkeeping, bookkeeping, you can outsource that. But for example, tedious work that you don't like to do, but it's an essential, you need to do that. I guess that the typical tedious work in entrepreneurship is something like cold calling, although we don't really do that anymore. I'm sure somebody does. But this kind of tedious work, whatever that is in your life, you need to use this powerful energy to do that work. Because that kind of work where it creates a lot of resistance, this energy will push it forward and you actually get work done. And also, when you use this energy, even small things that you normally are pretty efficient at, you do it with more clarity and focus, and you deliver much better work. Now, you may ask, how does it actually work? What is the process? What do you actually feel? How do you leverage that feeling? So what I'm saying is that the first thing is that you mustn't expel it. You mustn't expense it. You need to keep it in your body. So you feel it in the Kegel area. What you need to do is to squeeze your Kegel that's your vaginal muscles. You squeeze the Kegel, and you can actually feel the energy. You can really push the energy, and you can manipulate it inside your body. When you push that energy, then you can move it up towards the back of your spine, and you can actually use your visualization to move the energy up. And you want to move it from the bottom, the root of your spine, all the way up towards the back of your spine, and take it all the way to your brain. You basically want to pump this energy from ground up. So it's going from the very root of your body, which is the Kegel area, pushing it all the way up. So we go from Kegel to the anal area, all the way to the back spine, and push the energy up towards the back, the core of your body, which is the spine, all the way up to your brain. And then you start to feel the energy really working for you. Now, in the beginning, say when I sit down and try to write a book, or I'm doing the most creative thing, or if I'm sitting down and creating creative content for clients or for myself, or whatever your situation is, or you're trying to think about strategy, some kind of planning, or you're doing some tedious work, in the beginning, you will not want to do it. You will not want to sit and do that, because the urge hits, and the urge wants you to go reproduce. So what is the replica of reproducing? That could be self-pleasuring, or what we call masturbation. That can also be actually having sex with your partner, or going on dates, or flirting. You mustn't do any of those things. Once you do that, you've lost that energy. When you lose the energy, you lose the momentum. So for example, if you don't let the energy simmer and flow above your spine to your brain, and then when you give it about 10 minutes and you just stick to the work, before you know it, you get into flow, and that energy is like sparks in your brain. It's going, it really literally goes crazy. And I experience this all the time. It's amazing when you get into that flow of using the energy for your intellectual capacity. Your brain becomes like, it's like connected to the universe or something like that. It feels incredible. You get so much done. You have clarity, ideas come to you, things go smoothly. I mean, you name it. It's incredible. But if you go and use that, if you go off and say that you go on dates with a bunch of men who don't even value you, you expend that energy in useless ways, then you lose that momentum. And also, when you expend that energy, you experience brain fuzz, which is the actual opposite of what you're going for. You cannot cheat in this. That's where I'm going with. You cannot cheat in this. You have to sit through the first 10 minutes of resistance and then get into the flow, and then you're good. You're gonna feel it. And then the longer you expand it, you're going to feel it more and more. Now, am I saying that you should never ever have sex or have sexual activities? No, I'm not saying that. But you need to be intentional, because what happens is that men as well as women, we see men's example all the time, but we don't talk about women's example very much. When you don't control that sexuality, this is what happens. You make way more babies than you plan to make. You make way more babies than you want to make. And then you continue to make babies in wrong circumstances, okay? That is the first thing. When you do not control this, that's what happens. Second thing that happens is that you beat around the bush and you get nothing done. So you try different things and then nothing happens. You don't channel, you don't focus. There's no focus. Life without focus, there is no traction. That's what ends up happening. And when you don't learn to channel this energy, you don't deliver your best work. So you end up doing mediocre stuff. You end up having things that are just like everyone. So what tips did you find the most interesting? Was there anything surprising? Anything else that you'd like to add? Comment below. We'd love to hear from you. When I wrote my book, it took me 10 months to write my book. And most of the time it was complete abstinence. And I don't mean like abstinence from partner. I mean abstinence, like zero. And I can't guarantee it was zero for 10 months, but what I'm saying is that you mustn't. And when I go back and read my book now, I can't even fathom where some of this stuff came from. I read my own words. I'm like, wow, this came from the universe. Honestly, the wisdom sometimes I see It's incredible. When I wrote that book, which you can get the book down below in the comment section, in the description, I have the link to the book. You read that book, and I read that book after the fact, and I'm shocked that this is my best work. Because why? I channel that energy, and that creative force is what wrote the book. It wasn't me, the physical person. It was a creative force that like connected with the higher beings, or whatever you want to call it. And it was an incredible focus time for me to create this. And if I had been out on dates with some losers who don't even have food in their fridge, or someone who doesn't even value you, like a lot of women do, when you don't control this energy, you end up with bad partners, you keep repeating the same mistakes. When you channel this energy, you get exactly what you want. And that's what you're going for. It doesn't matter what your project is. It doesn't matter what your goals are. When you channel this energy properly, life becomes very simple. You have the thing that you want, and you channel it towards that, and you get the thing. And I was also in the critical stages of building my business, and I would say that this doesn't really go away, but especially in the beginning, all bets were off the table. Zero flirting, zero going out, zero sexual activity, zero everything. Why? Because that energy is what makes you productive, is what creates, is what generates, is what creates cash even. Okay? And 100%, this energy is abundance energy. Everybody has it. It's like social media. Everybody has it. You don't know how to make money from it. Most people don't. It's same as this energy. Everybody's born with it. You don't know how to use it for your abundance. You don't know how to make it so that you get what you want. And basically, this animal energy is stronger than anything. Why? Because our desire to procreate is strong. It's greater than our being. It's like a species level thing. So if you use that power to push on something that you really want, you get it. You take that animal energy and you pump your brain. Now, let me explain to you why it doesn't work when you engage in animal carnal activities. This is why. That energy travels. That energy starts to pump the animal part of the brain, which is the innermost part of the brain. Do you know what happens when somebody has a tantrum? The inner part of the brain flips. It flips and it takes over your brain. And then all your logical executive function of the brain, which is the front part of the brain, it shuts down. Now, when you engage and you use that energy for sexual activity, the same thing happens. Your frontal, logical, adult, human brain shuts down, and the animal brain comes over. So when you're trying to do something that is that takes logic, that takes creativity, that takes all this stuff, you basically shut that part of your brain off. That's why you experience fuzzy brain. That's why you experience indecision. That's why you experience all sorts of symptoms that is lack of focus, essentially, and being all over the place, because you've already used all that power and you spent it. It's like you threw it away. You threw your energy away, and now you don't have that push. When you save that energy and you push it up your spine, up the back of your neck, your spine, all the way up from your Kegel area, all the way up the back, and then you're now pumping your brain. You're pumping the creative brain with that power. The same power that has the ability to create children, you're now using it to leverage in projects. You're using it to write your best work or create your best work. You're using it from critical thinking and problem solving. You name it. There's nothing you can't solve when you have that much energy pumping through your brain. And therefore, the practice is to recycle it in your body. Now, if you have a loving partner, then of course you're gonna have sexual activity. Just make it intentional and make sure it's a real, true emotional connection, because who you're doing this with and how you do it can either steal your mojo or give you more mojo. Again, because the female sexual energy is about receiving. It's about receiving and flowing in. If you do not control who you're allowing in, this can really suck your energy out. This is why a lot of women who date horrible men, men who don't value, bullshit guys that you just go out and meet and it goes nowhere, you will feel your energy suck dry. Why? Because they've stolen your mojo. is a real thing, because female energy is inviting and receiving. So if you are having a sexual relationship with your partner and you invite some bullshit you to do it, you are going to exponentially lose. Therefore, it is absolutely important that your lover is somebody who supports you, loves you, is in the same vibe. And that's the only acceptable form of sexual activity. And by the way, if you're having sex with bullshit dudes, you're inviting in their trauma, their energy, all their history into your body. And that becomes part of your energy. You have to ask yourself, do you really want that? When it comes to, if you're single and you're self-pleasuring and things like that, I'm not saying never ever do that, but get everything you need to do first, and then you can go and have some fun. But in the meantime, until you get the most productive work done, that has to come first. It's kind of like you always do your homework first and then you play video games. It's the same concept. This is how you have to look at this, that power energy is the most important. Especially, I talk about the first 4 hours a day, your brain is the most fresh. You use this energy plus the first 4 hours of your day. That is incredible, creative, productive time. That is indispensable. You never ever channel the time towards anything but doing your best and most important work. I have a no-nonsense approach to doing exactly what it takes to get what you want. So if you want to do this work deeper, I invite you to have a consult with me, a free one-on-one chat to see if you're fit for us to work together and to really push on your purpose and your goals and get what you want in record time. If you found this helpful, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell beside it to be notified when I post a new video like this every single day. And also, please share this video with other high-performing boss women that you know who really need to hear this message. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again in my next video.